Hey everybody, thanks for joining the Rock and Metal Guardian today. Hope you're doing well wherever you may find yourselves. I'm Dane, your host. A couple days ago, maybe even 3 days ago, I posted a video called Things Music Fans Say That Make My Brain Hurt. I've since then taken it down, and the reason behind that is because after a little bit more thought, I realized that there were some things that I said in that video that didn't really connect to my overall thesis or argument or opinion. So I decided to remake the video with this one. And the things that I'm leaving out that didn't connect with my overall argument will be done as separate videos, 2 or 3, or as needed. So this video instead is entitled Music is 100% Subjective Part 2. And the reason it's called Part 2 is because about a month or so ago I did a video that was supposed to be a one and done called Music is 100% Subjective. So If you are looking for things music fans say that make my brain hurt, it's now been taken down, so it's no longer available. And if you already watched the video, you really don't need to watch this one because I'm just repeating most of the things. Most of the things are about 75% of the things that I said in that video. So let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is people who say the following 2 words. You're wrong. And so I have 3 examples. And this is the notion of that when it comes to taste in music or taste in art in general, there's a right and a wrong. And I'll talk about why there isn't. So there's a YouTube channel, and the host is a former musician. Well, they're still a musician, but their band is no longer together. And when this host did a video when the new Metallica album came out right away, or a couple days after, I guess maybe a week after, doesn't matter. They did a video that was entitled, If You Don't Like the New Metallica Album, You're Wrong. And of course I posted, well, that's an opinion. How can someone be wrong? But they never posted back. And I've seen other people say things like that, whether on social media or face-to-face or TV, whatever, right? And the second example is, a while back, I guess maybe again a month ago, I posted a video where I was reviewing an album or talking about a specific album, and someone said that my opinions on this album were wrong. And so I posted in the comments, there's no right, there's no wrong, there's no right, it's just an opinion. And they responded, WTF ? Exclamation point. So that's another example of the "you're wrong" quote. And then the third and last example was, last week I posted a video called Bands I Just Don't Get. And one of the bands that I mentioned, because I just don't get them, are the Buzzcocks. And so a person in the comments wrote, and I'm paraphrasing, they said something along the lines of, the Buzzcocks are the best band of all time, or the best punk band of all time, something like that. Hashtag FYI. So for my information. So when you say, for your information in that tone or in that context, that's their way of saying, you need to know this. They are, like, without a doubt, the best. Well, that's your opinion. They're posting it as if it's some sort of fact. So when you say, for your information, they are well, again, that's your opinion, but don't treat it like it's a fact. So this notion of you're wrong, when it comes to taste in music, there is no wrong, there is no right, there is no correct, there is no incorrect. There's no correct, there's no incorrect, because they're all opinions. So instead, it's I agree or I disagree. No right, no wrong, no correct, no incorrect, just I agree, I disagree. People who want to argue or posit the notion that your opinion is wrong or incorrect, they're saying your opinion doesn't matter, or it's simply an arrogance on their part. Now, next is people, when you don't like something, they say, well, get with it. That's a bandwagon fallacy. These people think music is somehow objective because they like it. And I'll say more about that as well. And often these people who say get with it will also respond with the quote, well, you're missing out. Well, again, that's your opinion. And again, totally subjective. My opinion is that I'm not missing out, and therefore I can save my pennies. I'm not missing out, so you have your opinion, and I have mine. They're both subjective. So another example tied to this bandwagon fallacy, or the actual term for it is a Latin term called the ad populum fallacy, the notion that again, so many people like something or they're on the bandwagon that somehow you must like it too. So often some people will say, often, and I think most of us have been here, we'll say we don't like something, and their response is, it could be a movie too, right? Any type of art, their response is, well, it sold 10 million copies, as an example. Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. So it's popular. It sold 10 million copies, this particular thing, whatever it may be, movie, CD, whatever, piece of artwork. It sold 10 million copies. So we could agree that it's popular, okay? But just because it sold X number of copies, a big number, doesn't mean I have to like it, okay? So when you have, say, 10 million people who like something, it's popular, it's trendy, whatever you want to call it, it's still subjective. But what happens is people think they have this fallacy, again, the same fallacy, bandwagon fallacy, that somehow if so many people like something, it must now be a fact. It's not. It's still 10 million opinions, totally subjective. And my lone opinion, and or the people who agree with me, if they are as such, that they don't like it, those are also subjective, 100% subjective opinions. Now, speaking of the bandwagon fallacy, people who think in this erroneous way are essentially saying, so I'm supposed to jump aboard because so many other people like it. I'm my own critical thinking person. I don't have to do anything I don't want to when it comes to art, especially, arguably. So many people love following a trend. They want to fit in. There's no way to determine how many people bought something because it's trendy or because they want to fit in or because they legitimately like it. But we have to take into consideration that a lot of people follow something or purchase something because they want to fit in. And fitting in is not always a good thing. We all want to fit in many ways, but sometimes fitting in is not the right way to go because sometimes fitting in means not being true to oneself. And also because fitting in can also be dangerous. So, for example, following trends, there's a lot of examples in the news of where someone followed a challenge on a particular social media site and either got ill or poisoned themselves or died or got sick or whatever for doing one of these challenges. So again, following a trend or being on the bandwagon isn't always a healthy choice. Again, another example of the bandwagon argument is the old TV commercial, 4 out of 5 dentists prefer Trident. Well, that's a marketing or advertising manipulation tactic, also a propaganda tactic. Again, false logic. It's still an opinion. Doesn't mean it's the right gum for you. Totally subjective. Art, music, again, taste is totally 100% subjective. So this bandwagon notion that you should like something because others like it is also tied to why bands sell out, go mainstream, etc., whatever you want to call it. I did a video not too long ago called Is Foreigner the Epitome of Rock Music? And in parentheses, the Ritchie Blackmore conundrum. And I talked about how I think some bands, in this case, Rainbow, went the route of following what the audiences liked instead of being true to themselves. Now, I could be wrong, but isn't the audience supposed to follow the band and the artist, not the other way around? Again, I could be wrong. I'm just putting that out there. Just an opinion. So now, tied to this bandwagon argument is the notion of hype. And so on a different video, and I want to give credit where credit is due, a Brian Drawn 9830 posted the problem with hype, and I think this is very relevant to the problem with the bandwagon fallacy. So Brian wrote, "It's really weird how hype works. People can get hyped about a good band, and they will become very popular. But when there's only hype, it's hit and miss. Historically, music was just an art form that didn't really involve fame or anything like that. It was just music for the sake of music. When people started making money by hyping anything, it eventually encountered music, and it didn't do anything for the music. It just made more money than the music was really worth." Sometimes a band would randomly catch fire and everyone would jump on board, but that didn't necessarily mean that it was a good band. The whole concept kind of ruined music. So many people started to value the fame instead of the music. I find hype to be nauseating personally, he adds, and that's how he ends his comment there. And I agree with Brian here. Not only is hype nauseating, again, a propaganda tactic, advertising manipulation for him, it's also, or what I would like to add rather, is that in addition to hype being nauseating, following trends for me personally is nauseating. So, thank you, Brian. Now, these pages are sticky. It's humid down here again in New Orleans. All right. Now, I want to talk about some comments that people have made on this channel that further proves my point that some people think that there's right and wrong or correct or incorrect when it comes to taste in music, when it's just 100% subjective. So when I first started this channel, I did a video on my favorite songs, 20 or 25 or 30 songs by a particular band that I like. And a person wrote, my favorite song is X, why isn't it yours? And this kind of upset me. Well, it did upset me. And I thought to myself, well, it's obvious why it's not my favorite song, because you said it was your favorite. I didn't think I had to explain that. So this is back to, why do I have to like what you like? Or in this case, why do I have to like exactly what you like? So again, this notion that, why isn't it your favorite? Well, favorite is subjective. What's best, what you think a band's best album or artist's best album is totally subjective. There's no right or wrong. Best is not a fact. Okay? But critics want you to think so, right? Favorite, same thing. A lot of people rather think favorite is a fact. No, favorite is your opinion. Anyway, so again, why does your favorite have to be my favorite? Favorite and best are subjective. The beauty of sharing your taste in music is that while we may share some of the similar loves of certain albums, etc., we also have our differences. And so we can discuss those differences to get to know each other, right? Sharing is a great thing. Another example, I posted a video, one of my first videos about my top 10 favorite bands, and a person in the comments posted, no Iron Maiden, ? No Thin Lizzy, ? Come on! Why does Thin Lizzy and Iron Maiden have to be in my top 10 favorite bands of all time? They don't. They're two of your favorite bands. They're not two of my... I like... These would be in my top 30, 35, as I said in the previous video, but they're not in my top 10. Again, music is subjective, not fact. So when I say that these are my top 10 favorite bands, they're not facts. I'm just sharing my opinion. Just like your opinion is that you love Iron Maiden and Thin Lizzy. All right, next. Well, let me add that. Why are you getting upset? Why are you getting so worked up over someone's opinion? Taste, again, is subjective. I know I'm repeating myself, but it bears, maybe some sinking in will come from me repeating this over and over. But in some cases, as you know, there's that old Western where someone says, there's just some people you can't reach, right? Anyway, I'm going to try nonetheless. Taste is subjective. It's an opinion, not a fact. Now, lastly, another video I did a while back, one of my first videos, was on my favorite debut albums of all time. And in that list were Uriah Heep and Van Halen and The Doors. The Doors was below Uriah Heep and Van Halen somewhere, and this person went off on me in the comment section saying, why is Uriah Heep above The Doors and Van Halen too? And they were really upset. Again, it's my opinion. It's not a fact. It's subjective. Just like you would rank The Doors higher. Your opinion, also subjective. Anyway, thanks for listening. Take care. Have a great holiday. Bye now.